We are right in the heart of the Gaza Strip, at the Israeli army post of Marganit. After 3 years of compulsory military service, Israelis continue doing reserve duty, a month in the army every year. This is a reservist platoon, a mixed bunch from all over Israel: tradesmen, engineers, IT workers and students. They've been coming together for more than 10 years. In Israel, the army is a rite of passage. It's the institution that binds the nation together.
Here, everybody is equal. Everybody comes for the same reason, for a limited time, and you depend on each other. And this makes the bond strong.
Their mission this year is to protect the 7,000 Jewish settlers who have chosen to live among the 1 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. To do that, almost as many soldiers have been sent in to throw a cordon around the settlements.
We're guarding actually the civilians behind us. You can look over there, it's 500 meters behind us, and the border over here is 60 meters from us. So actually it's very close, everything. So our job is to let the civilians behind us live normal, without fear, without terror, without anything.
The day is their downtime. The night will bring the Palestinian militants who try to infiltrate the settlements. And tonight, they are expecting trouble. Yesterday, an elite army unit assassinated 2 senior Hamas militants in the nearby Rafah refugee camp. They anticipate a revenge attack. As night falls, company commander Amnon Cohen undertakes the dangerous task of checking the surveillance equipment at the camp's perimeters. Amnon hears gunfire. The militants have arrived. The Palestinians have engaged the next Israeli platoon a kilometre away. Amnon expects his turn to come and falls back to base. Amnon and his troops wait and wait.
If you will say, no, this night is like the other nights, they will hit us. They can improve every day, the terrorists. They learn us. We are static and they have the surprise.
After 6 hours, there's still no sign of the militants. Israel is the military superpower in the Middle East. No Arab nation can match it. But it's not equipped to fight a popular uprising. In part frustration and part show of strength, the soldiers let off live fire into the darkness at an unseen enemy in a war they can't win.
A lot of time and a lot of blood to the both parts to understand that there is no another way, and to divide the land and to live together.
Do you think they should have a state or not in the end, or what do you think?
I think yes. I think they have to have a state, but they will have to accept us, and we will accept them.
This is what the soldiers are protecting. A block of Jewish settlements called Gush Katif. Built on land conquered in the Six-Day War of 1967, these settlements are illegal under international law. Palestinians see them as one of the biggest obstacles to peace, preventing the creation of a viable state. The Sapersteins are typical of the people who live here. They moved from New York City to Jerusalem and then on to Gush Katif. Moshe was injured fighting for Israel in the War of 1973. He and his wife believe that by returning to the Promised Land, they are doing God's work.
We feel a special purpose being here. We feel God put us into the right place at the right moment. We feel that this is an important moment in our life. We've always participated in all the great miracles of Israel. And this is also I don't know whether you call it a great miracle, but there's something going on within the land of Israel at this point, which is only going to be good.
I grew up on John Wayne movies in the United States, World War II movies. I can give you the dialogue from Sands of Iwo Jima to Back to Bataan to Corregidor to any movie you want, okay? We feel we have a mission. Does that make us missionaries? And, we're carrying it out. And I don't mind admitting that, psychologically, I get off on this sort of thing. Okay, it's a terrible thing to say. I know I'm supposed to be balanced, reasonable human being, but I've always been nuts. So I am very happy being here. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
The settlers live in an unreal world behind barbed wire, cut off from the chronic poverty and anger of the Palestinians who surround them.
I love this view. I love it.
We wanted a warm area with a view of the Mediterranean, and as you can see, we have one straight out of our window. It's gorgeous here. The people here are lovely. They're warm. They're friendly. It's sort of a America 1950 with a very laid-back atmosphere. It's an agricultural.
The settlers are extremists in Israeli society. Israeli negotiators at Camp David had agreed to dismantle Gush Katif before peace talks broke down in 2000. But the settlers here won't go. They believe the Palestinians should leave.
See, I'm one of those who walks around saying, end the occupation. It doesn't make me one of them, because when I say end the occupation, I mean end the occupation of Jewish land by Arabs.
Yes, they have a wonderful land called Jordan, which is already settled by 80% of these Palestinians, and they should join their brothers and live under King Abdullah, and they'll have a wonderful, wonderful life in their own land. They could call it Palestine, change the name, and they'll have a wonderful, wonderful life there. I believe that they should immigrate, be in their own land of Jordan.
Back in civilian life, Company Commander Amnon Cohen can talk more openly. He is a civil engineer who lives in Israel proper in the coastal town of Haifa. Like most of his soldiers, he doesn't believe in the settlers' ideology. What's more, 19 Israeli soldiers have paid with their lives defending the settlements of Gush Katif.
We have to leave all the settlements in Gaza because I've been there now. You saw me there. I didn't tell you then because I was a soldier, but now we have nothing to do there. It's their country. We have to go out. We have to give them all the Gaza, to go to the border. There is a border there. There is a fence.
But Amnon isn't torn between his political beliefs and his duty as a soldier. He will go back to his post when called up next year.
It's a conflict only in the mind, because when I go there, first I'm a soldier, a trained soldier, so I understand what I have to do. Second, this is people. There is children there, wives, husbands, old people. They are there. They are there now. I have to protect them. Nothing. If I won't protect them, they will die.
But many are refusing to go. In greater numbers than ever before, Israelis are saying no to military service in the occupied territories. They call themselves refuseniks. There have been refuseniks before, but this time it's different. The majority come from the elite units in the army.
Nobody can tell us, well, you're just cowards or something like that. Each and every one of us fought a lot for his country, and we've been to the territories. We know exactly what's going on there, and that is the force of our refusal.
After 10 years of service in the occupied territories as an elite paratrooper, Yaniv Ipzcovitz refused to serve in Gaza last January. Soon after, he and 50 others published a full-page letter in an Israeli newspaper announcing their intention to refuse. They called their group Courage to Refuse. 474 others have now signed on, soldiers unwilling to fight a war for the settlements.
Given more and more money for an unjust war. It is corrupting us because the extreme and fundamentalistic sides of our society are getting stronger and stronger. The society is becoming less compassionate, less human.
We grew up, we were told many things that we found out that were lies. We were told that the IDF is the most moral army in the world, and we served there in combat units, and we discovered that it's not so true.
The refuseniks say the occupation has nothing to do with the security of Israel. In fact, it's corroding the very principles of justice and democracy upon which they believe Israel was founded.
We can or be moral or occupy. We have now to make a decision, because the occupation is immoral, and we cannot have the privilege of sitting in coffee shops in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, not suffering from what we are doing next door.
We got used to people being killed on a daily basis in the occupied territories. We got used to mistakes. We got used to holding a whole nation without any civil rights. And this being used to corrupts ourselves from within.
Their moral stance comes at a cost. The refuseniks are going to jail in increasing numbers. This is Military Prison 6, where about 40 refuseniks are currently serving terms of up to 40 days for refusing to serve in the occupied territories. A total of 80 have been jailed following closed military hearings. Every week, those still on the outside hold a demonstration opposite the prison to support the cause. Through their mobile phones, they speak with their colleagues inside. Serving in the army is seen as almost a sacred duty in Israel. It's also a passport to sought after jobs in government and business. By attacking it, the refuseniks are isolating themselves from Israeli society. But it's a price they are willing to pay.
I believe that the most religious thing to do today, if you're a really Jewish believer, is to refuse. Because I think that the tradition of Judaism, or the legacy of Judaism, is the moral legacy. We should know best. We were the one that everyone persecuted all over Europe and all over other places in the world, and we should know what is freedom. We should know what is equality. We should know what is morality.
Michael Sfard is a lawyer as well as a refusenik. In an unprecedented move, he's now taking the refusenik case to the Israeli Supreme Court. Sfard represents another refusenik. David Zonshine was jailed following a closed military hearing and is now demanding a public hearing. This will give the refuseniks the opportunity to put the occupation on trial.
The file would be called the IDF versus David Zonshine. But in the same courtroom, there would be in simultaneous another case, and this is David Zonshine versus the Israeli occupation.
Today they have won their first battle. The Supreme Court orders that David Zonshine be released from military custody. And a month later, an even more significant victory. The case will be heard by a tribunal of Supreme Court judges. A ruling isn't expected for several months. The refuseniks also have received support from an unlikely source. The Council of Peace and Security is a group of 1,200 serving and retired generals, colonels, Shin Bet and Mossad agents. These are the men that made Israel a regional superpower. But their combined experience tells them there is no military solution to the Palestinian uprising or intifada.
Here you fight amongst civilian population who support subversion. This is a war that cannot be won by force. This is the kind of war that if you want to win by force, you have basically to think in terms of genocide. Because if you don't perform a genocide, then there will be always somebody who will initiate again subversion against you. Because national feelings cannot be killed by force, only if the person who feels it is being killed. And we have learned through history, I'm talking about modern history. It didn't work with the Brits in Malaya. It didn't work with the French in Algiers. It didn't work with the Kurds. And it doesn't work in Chechnya.
The council has a clear plan to end the conflict.
We think that we have to leave the territories, we have to leave the West Bank and Gaza. We think we have no place to be there. We think the settlements have to be disbanded. There can, of course, be arrangements made along the 1967 Green Line in which we would be able to encompass some of the settlements near the line. But basically, we believe that we have to go back to the 1967 line as the starting element for negotiations and disband the settlements and to reach peace with our Palestinian neighbors.
Despite its level of experience, Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon has refused to meet the council and hear its demands. It's now attempting to collect 1 million signatures to present to the government. In places like Tel Aviv, its plan resonates with the young and secular.
Somebody asked me yesterday, do I feel resentment against Arabs for what happened to me and something like that? And my answer, which I'm afraid is not politically correct, was, if you live in a jungle and lions attack you, do you feel resentment? No, that's what lions do, okay? The people I feel resentment against are the left-wing liberal Jews who feel that Zionism is original sin and that we stole land from people who were here before us and we have to make up for it by compensating them, by giving them this, that, and the other. These are the people who will argue against the settlements.
Settlers like the Sapersteins are not going to go without a fight, and they have the full backing of the Prime Minister. The government has allocated an estimated $1 billion Australian dollars for settlement security this year.
The occupation is killing us economically. I think that morally we will not know right from wrong. I think that we will start to have civil wars inside Israel.
The voices of moderation are hoping the Israeli public will realise the cost of defending these outposts is too great.